Today is day 1527 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today we're finishing your Sim rate study of doing pay test. Now you're going to hear this over again in a couple of minutes because I decided after I recorded the shir to record an introduction with some pictures to make the action easier when you get to see the halachas later on. So in brief, we're going to have halachas oris of trellises, where trellises have the status of a vineyard, even though there's only one row. There's going to be a case like this, which you're going to have a gap in the middle of the oris, some over here, some over there, and you can plant in the middle. This, of course, is a trellis where the apipirus are the type of the things on top, where you extend the vines. There are going to be a couple of shitas in what exactly this case is talking about. The other shitas that's talking about actually between, there's the Rambam, between this row and this row, where you can plant in the middle over here. And then we're going to have a Karen Zavis, two different shatim. One is the conventional shot like this, or it's like this, and the other is the Rambam who holds it goes like this. And these are all things going to come up later in the Simon, towards the end actually. At the very end of the Simon, we're going to have these cases over here, where you have a runner, which is going off the vine, and going back to the ground. From which side you have to be marchik, how much you have to be marchik from each side. You'll hear there's one scenario where actually we got mixed up, where it's completely on the ground, so you only marchik from here. This one can make up we marchik from both sides, and so on and so forth. These are all pictures which are going to come up at the very end of the simon, so freeze them in your memory. Okay, so these are the various different types of arisim and havrachos which are coming up. They're coming up and going to be discussed. They say 1,527 Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. They were finishing Bez Hashem, Simon, your right side, you're there. They were doing pay tests. Doesn't make a difference in the halach of Aris. He first built the fence and then he planted. Or vice versa. Once you trellis, you make it a trellis. We don't say it's only specifically when he first planted, and then he made the fence for the purpose of a trellis. Does that totally bikra ma'aser l'kavana? Has to do with the ma'aser, the actual reality, the deed, not the kavana, not the intent. If the fence is destroyed or the trench is blocked up, and the vines are left lying on the ground, then the name of race is negated. So then the row, which is only one row, is like individual grapevine. Only the distance of 6 talking. Have a kerem after the stories. If it's clear that if previously there were 2 rows, then it's kerem even if the oris fell. Shegam bilado a kerem b'shtei shuros. Obviously, if out there would have been a kerem with the 2 rows. So Chok Arbams would require the distancing of 4 amos. But it says it's still mashkosu see peidal v'duk. Whatever it says in peidal, we haven't seen yet. Pe'al. Because the Rambam Mishal Medina, the Rambam writes there Mishal Sib Zamach. If you have a trellis which was destroyed in the middle, the 5 vines on the side of the fence on this side, we connect on 5 on the other side. This is called a segment in oris. Between them there are 8 amas and 1/60th of an amma. And raise the marchim because surah Shisha Tvachim Bezoreh. A distance from each one 6 Tvachim you plant. Vushaloiza Tachas Apipirus is those don't plant underneath the sticks. There's precisely 8 ounces between them. Basically, you shouldn't plant there. So if you did, since nevertheless you are distance of 6 from each row, Harezokish doesn't consecrate it. If there's no fence, you distance of 6 from every row. There's a you plant. No ores, no trellis, nor a segment in trellis. If you rebuild the fence, will come up, the trellis comes back to its place. And the segment in the segment in trellis comes back as well. What does it mean to say? It says here in pay base. The Avagad Mitchil and Nikro Oris Tibuchamisha Kafine. Initially it's called Oris 5 grapevines. Kokonella Simil Kafine to Merubin. There are many grapevines. Nechov became desolate in the middle. Abi Shtarishon Kamisha Kafine Mikan Kamisha Mechanic though 5 grapevines this side, 5 grapevines that side. Nonikush it's not called 2 Arisim. The trellis is Elamosa Piske Oris. It's called the remaining segmented Oris. But the Shem Menu and has no longer the same Oris. It's initially made the Oris for many grapevines, but I have 6 it's enough to have 8 amos and a little bit more. You don't need 16 amos. The Rambam interestingly defines Va'od here, which I don't know if he does elsewhere in Halacha. He defines Va'od as Echam Shisha Ba'ama. Before it says Shishim. Echam Samach Ba'ama. It says Echam Shisha Ba'ama. Vainu Tefach. So I guess it was a typo where it said before Samach Ba'ama. Okay, typo in the Arukh HaShulchan. So it's 1/6 of an amma, which is a tefach. I missed the line. The Rama Odu Echam Mishishim Amma, 1/60 of an amma. Rashko is Echam Mishishim Amma. The Rash's Girsa is 1/6 of an amma. How tefach? Chain that's arriving. The totally chuver Girsos Ushamis, so the Girsos Ushamik line. But nearly Mashi Tzumat, you're saying Chasamas, when you live in Bonnet Amas, they should not take Mitchila. Because when you plant a vineyard to begin with, Harry have 6 amas, cautious, but then the interruption is 8 amas, as we know. Zechel Kubadover Muat, so there they distinguished it here with a little bit more Mibasham than here. Kidele Dashu Mizem Medini Aris, in order to which we call this halacha of Aris. The have location Avshaloya Be'od. If we have it, it doesn't consecrate it even if you didn't have the Od. I've been arguing the Sule the Kim Shishtar Shchesh Kafan Chol Tzad. Since you have 5 kafanim on each side, having that took shtei arisim, it is 2 arisim, even so, which is Mishnah Vav Perek Vav Mevuar Rambam Ayin Sham. Okay, so the basically you start off. It's very interesting, quite a radical halacha. You start off. You didn't have rows, right? They were not within the shear to make a camera themselves. But since there was an oris on this side of the fence and oris on that side of the fence, so because you have the halacha that the fence makes a shura into a fence during as an oris, makes a shura into kerem, into a kerem. So therefore, here also you have a shura yechidus made it into a kerem because of the fence. But he says no, because you start off with much more. So now, when you get down to 5 on each side, it's a special halacha which is lenient. Okay. Pei Gimel. Kasav Ram Misham Din Zayin. Ram by Tzkina Katan Shimukev is garden. You have a small garden which is surrounded by a fence. For some reason, you trellis the grapevines on top of this fence on all sides. Yeshua Malo, Botzeva Samikan, Lo Botzeva Samikan. It has the face of Molium low boats of the salad, which of course is 4 amos on here and over there. However, Kevis God there, since it's surrounded the fence, Zorim Mitoko Yurakos, you can plant vegetables inside. If it doesn't have the shear, ain't so it can't plant inside. Nation Kokoris Echo looks like 1 oris, but like Pesach with vegetables inside of it. I can't listen. Which will have Steve Samachal. This Simon, Arukh HaShulchan keeps telling us where the Steve Shulchan Aruch. I doesn't usually do that. The Mishnah Be'edios Perek Beis Mishnah Dal B'Tzach Bir B'Nevar B'Siyat Yishmael. Class explanation will explain it. Pei Dal you should know the Kol Mishnayos they do the same Mashi Yidu at the time Dinim B'Chudashim. The new halachas which don't necessarily appear elsewhere in Shas. But I kind of Kenu here. It's also saying the Malach tell you that forgot the Chorazel or it's Mamish. It's Mamish in August, right? They have grapevines trellised over a fence. This is for Amos Kush Kusabnu. Come Zed Lo Mikroris. It's not called Oris. But on the Bade Iloy Goder Ze Mankvanim, if this fence was the purpose of Kvanim, Bench or some become Acharkach, whether he made it beforehand. Before he made the grapevines or after he made the grapevines, have they already in its noise? Abakana God we should have Gina. Here the fence is for the Gina. It's like semen by Mavli. Here it's for the Gina. I would there Chaga, but en passant. Came Shinatak Vine say Mechutz, since you planted grapevines around in the I'd say the Harry Slats like Vine so it's convenient. You trellis them on top of the walls. You want to drag on the ground, right? You trellis on top of the walls. It's not liberally done to cultivate it as a trellis. So if it's only one row around the entire garden, so then it has the thing to give me this is 6 tvachim from the fence and plant. But if the garden is 4 by 4 amos, I made a mistake before. I said both of the is 4 amos. No, it's 2 amos. Avoda is 4 amos. Both of the salad is 2 amos. So, apologize for that. Boats of the salad shem 2 amos, which is 2 amos. The boats are novim misim metoch hasal. The boats are novim who puts a person harvests grapes, puts them into a basket, right? So the mokum botzer, the harvester, haviyamo. It's an amma. The guy for Bam Siasi. Person it's an amma. Mokum Masal amma. The place of the basket is an amma. Place to him Arba Amos. So on each side you have 4 amos. As Yachik Zan Mokum Makfani Shishvak give me Yichis Zoreh. You can plant at 6 tvachim, which means not the full 2. Even though you only have 2 amos, even though 2 amos are boats of a salo, you still this is 6 tvachim. You don't have yourself 2 amos. If this is 2 amos and 4 by 4 garden, then we know where to plant. So you just have 6 tvachim, right? And as he says, they don't care if you plant where the basket was going to go. If it's less than that shear, near the chorus echad, that looks like everything is one big blob of trellis. But you can't plant here. The yearly, it seems to be even zara lo kiddush. If you do plant, even though it's less than 4 by 4 amos, it's not. It doesn't consecrate. Near the Rambam, I find maybe able to go. According to the Rambam, the grapevines are on the other side of the fence. But we'll arrive at the Steve Ryan test. I find with toch go there. They're inside the fence. Some people go there around the fence. Rambam has to shop at fear. Rambam makes it better. Works that better. The Rivet, because when Rivet came and told me go there, yesh kvani. Since within the fence there are grapevines. Me and Marcia saw Gadolagina. Who says they made the fence for the garden? Shema Salag fine. They made it for the grapevines, which are inside. After all, Vavoris Mamish. You say that it would be an actual trellis. Still, we can look at chronologically, historically, and say since it was made initially to Gina, so therefore it's a Gina. Nevertheless, it would still is still difficult. The bracket says, "Bir lamati mi perish hamishla Rama Rav Sham perish Rav." Right, this is Yom Sham B'Tuk. So you learned this from Ram Ravid and the Bartanura. Peye Gefanim Yuzuim was Zuim Madrega Gava. Grapevines which are planted on a high step. Find Tugava shows same amount came Madrega means a mound which is made like a step. That's the Rav again, the Bartanura. Some people make a furrow around towers and they pour dirt below, like biatel, to lift up the mound. Those seem some madrigas, making the steps. Some rash. And their trellises come out and stand out over the field. If it's not so high, you would stand on land and harvest the ground and harvest the grapevines growing on the mound. So all of the land which is underneath the trellis, which is coming out from the mound, is as if it's the place where the trunks of the grapevines are of us, and answers that whole area, even under the foliage, answers 4 amos from the rim of the trellis. Even though for about every oris you measure for amos either from the fence or from the trunk, according to Rambam. You only measure from the trunk. It's not from the ground underneath the oris. Even though you can't plant there, but don't measure 4 amos in there. Since the grapevine is raised up and the oris goes out on the field, the land underneath the oris is considered kigod there, like an extension of a fence, and like the trunk of the tree. Since I'm not sure why there should be a difference, but since it's different from the trunk in its height and its depth. But if the Kvani, they're way up in the air, so you can't harvest it unless you go up on a step or on a ladder. You're only forbidden to plant under the oris. But you don't have to go 4 amos from the end of the oris. Since the grapevine is very high, ain't Shem Karen Cloud, there's no name Karen at all underneath what's on the ground underneath the earth. Also, therefore, it's only also directly underneath the trellis, Mishum Irbu, because of the mixing together. Pavov, Tanam and Perek Vav. Orishu Yotzim Nakoiso, trellis is coming out of the wall. Mitoga Karen Bekola out of the corner, and ends. Nosa Badoso, Yivitz Haboida, Bezres Hamosar. And you plant the rest. Pirsho Rash Varav. And the tools beside the goder. You have 5 vines next to the fence. They is called goder. They don't take up the entire fence. 3 on one side towards one end of the fence. 2 towards the other end of the fence. In the middle of the wall, there are no kfanim. They're only at the corners. So even they don't have the special halacha of the trellis plus the grapevines making up a vineyard. No, like a Gavin Yechidus. And you're from in the middle between the two, you can distance yourself 6 tefachim from the end, from the last one in the sequence, and plant. Even if there isn't 4 amos there. The oris is only on one side. In other words, it's on one side of the fence. But together, that was the same area. One is towards one end and the other towards the other end. Avarama Perish you said Pezai. Avarama Perish Achar. Rama has different interpretation. But P Perish Opas Akamadin Test Shono says, well, this is the Pshat. Snake Solim, you have 2 walls, Hasmuchim cells which are adjacent to each other. Fine tune is always by name, and the grapevines are an angle between them. First, Yoitzim Aksolim Mitocha Karen. The oris comes out from the wall, comes out with the wall from the corner of the kola, and it stops. This is from the trunk of the tree, the shear 4 amos. Zorab and Mokam kola. Change the trellis to place plant where there is no trellis. Even though they're planting between 2 walls, both of which are oris. Was it your market kashir 4 amos from wherever the trees are in the middle? I mean, is there going to make sense? We could plant between the walls. The boost is the chiddush is the happy shnir mokam echad mamish. Even though it looks like one place, it should still be between 2 walls. Koko nevertheless came to kashir dios. It's just to yourself. The shear that suffices. The Radak says here, okay, 4 tvachim seems to be a particular kula. Seems to say 4 amos. Okay, I'm not sure what that Yerushalmi means. Peiches, Kevin Shola 8 Arts Mat B'Shava, a grapevine where the tree came, the wooden part came out of the ground directly. And then it changes direction. Goes down back to the ground. So then go above, straight up, which of course is going to do with the trellis. Bakmumis, all right, so bends down back in the ground. Like a person whose knee is bent. And then after it's in the ground some distance, went back up again. In brackets, he says, in yearly you should it's like a lamed in Assyrian script. Lon here, it's a typo, it says like a nun. When you measure the gap between the seeds and the vines, 4 almost 6 fucking, you measure from the end of the knee. Not from the trunk, neutral trunk. Because the way it looks, the trunk starts where it came back down to the ground. If you have a knee in the grapevine, you measure from the second trunk. So about where you took a branch of one grapevine, put it to another grapevine. And beneath it's very thick, and the bottom grapevine is thick, and the one with which it's connected is thin. You measure from the thin one. Zeo kula. I guess it's like like this. So the soup comes out. I'm not sure exactly what the Messiah says. Bracket says, no, I guess it makes sense. The first one can't be seen. Rishon Nira knows that she should talk on Rishon. Okay, somehow you can't see the first one. It's all on the ground or something. Varach al din ze kai kamosh kasav shom is going to this halacha. For Rambam lo kai al din ze rakareis is going to different halacha on Shabbat Moshe. Peites, finally, his bar even clarifies Abi Shemaki ben Azer ben Agev Kashir. Even though you distance her properly, tzarich lizar shlo tzachei Agev al Yerko Agev can the foliage extend one way or the other. If you planted vegetables or grain and it grew, and then you put a grapevine over it. Whatever is originally grew is already straw, and it's permitted. Whatever is grain is burnt up. And that which said before is also the straw is also. So you plant the kilim underneath the grapevine. Sometimes the straw is mutter. You planted initially beheter, and then you later on the foliage grew on top of them. Then the straw is mutter. Badog and the grain is also ein shom. You'll see in the arbamos if the roots of the grapevine will come into 4 amos between the vineyard and the grain. If the roots of the grain go to 4 amos, that's okay. They don't extend so far. The roots of the grain, like the roots of the grapevine. So therefore, with the grapevine, we don't uproot them; they're going to get mixed together. We're talking about a regular arm of 6 tvachim in all distances. Sochakos, they are wide, below mitzvot, not narrow. Right? Laughing, not smart, not serious. These measures, so therefore you can plant right up to and adjacent to the grapevine.